All right, Stevie's back. We missed Steve Serda last week.
Hi.
Yeah, it's good to see you, buddy. We were debating like if your name should be added to the show last week. We
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I
we
didn't
were
get a
like
chance to listen. Honestly, I was under the weather.
and I'm gonna be completely transparent. I thought BK was a little bit aggressive with it. Like I was like, it's showing BK, and he was like featuring Serda, and I think featuring is a bit strong. So I was more like a and or with, because I think with Serda, with Stephen Serda, or and Stephen Serda. That one to me, featuring feels like you're front center. And no disrespect, I'm not. I think that's aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, it probably is. I feel like featuring in radio is
Like
like
you're
the
in it.
ultimate sign of respect.
Yeah, we don't want to do
That's
that.
Instead
all
of
I'm trying to do. I'm
like
trying to show
putting
you the
you,
proper amount of respect.
yeah,
Yeah, we don't
like
want to
if
go
you're
that
not going to
far.
be on the masthead, you get that featuring, and
Yeah.
and
This is
and I'm not listen. I feel like if I wanted to elbow my way into the name of the show, I could have done it a long time ago. And it's okay. It's fine how it is. I'm not asking for much. I enjoy being on the show in the capacity that I am. I do a lot of other things here. I'm
yeah,
perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think you're being a little too aggressive now. Like just saying, like you could have, like you're sure of that. Like, hold on now.
I mean, to
Like,
be fair, he did make the graphics, so like I think he could have probably had them put on there.
yeah, no, but he knows that would take it to another level. And I'll strike if I don't get I don't care what he makes. But good to have you back. We missed you last week. You know who else we're missing? 15, baby. We got to hear Patrick today. What is today? Thursday night as we're doing this. We got to hear Patrick. And he's a straight up psychopath. My man said one, rehab's going well. He's in a good spot. He is shooting for, of course, week 1. And he said that the doctor said that this is something that is attainable. And he's hitting all his marks. But that fool said he was trying to see if they would just give him a brace so that he could finish the game against the Chargers. Once he started walking around doing it, he felt like he could do something. And so let me get a brace. He is an absolute crazy person. Like all I can remember is him walking down them steps, and them steps, he needed some help to get down them, to negotiate them steps. And to think that fool was up there in his mind thinking, just give me a quick brace. Just give me a quick brace. I feel like I don't know if it's an ACL and an LCL, whatever the hell it is, but just give me a quick brace. He is nuts, which is why I believe he probably will be ready by week 1, because he's probably like they've got to keep a monitor on him so he doesn't over rehab this thing. So I mean he's nuts, but shout out to him. He's back though. He looks good. It was good to hear from him.
This is part of what makes him one of the greatest to ever do it. And Ron, this gets into like the intangible stuff. I saw an interview with Tom Brady earlier today where he was talking about how he welcomed his teammates, the new teammates that would arrive for the New England Patriots. And he's like, listen, I was 35, 38, 40 years old, and these guys are coming in. They're 22 and 23. They've watched me since they were 6. Like they watched me when they were kids. And so they're going to be a little intimidated walking into the room. So he made a point to make sure I'm going to walk up and approach them so that way they don't have to do it with me. And then he would have something to say based upon their history or where they went to school or whatever it is, so he can approach them and they feel comfortable coming to Tom Brady. That's just one of those things that it makes you a great teammate. And this is the toughness with Patrick Mahomes that it takes him to a different level than so many other quarterbacks around the league. I mean, the guy played through a high ankle sprain a week after he did it. His knee was turned sideways in a primetime football game, and he was back less than a month later, not just playing, but playing at an extremely high level. The stuff that we've seen this guy play through, it's it's one of the more under-discussed features of what Patrick Mahomes brings to the table. Because
he's got that psychopath in him. He's got that.
Yeah.
He's got that craziness that like Jordan and Kobe and them have in them.
And that's it's both competitor and also toughness. And the toughness aspect of it is something that I think it's undersold at the quarterback position. Meanwhile, when Lamar Jackson's tummy hurts, he misses 3 weeks straight.
This is unnecessary. It's not. That was completely. My God.
Lamar Jackson's tummy ache just got Harbaugh fired after 18.
My God.
Yeah, everybody.
What the hell was that? It's more than his tummy, man. It's his butt. That's a tail. It's his back. I'm struggling with a real back injury. I got twisted up and sleep 2 nights ago. I'm really fighting it.
Ron, how many times this year did we hear on a Thursday, yeah, Lamar's not going to be practicing today. He's got a little flu bug.
Why do you have to do this to Lamar? Like, Lamar, why do you have to do this? Lamar's just sitting over here chilling, trying to find a head coach, and you're coming in. You're going to use it. Man, you could have used other examples. There was no need to run down another quarterback.
He's one of the greats to ever do it. He's a multi-time MVP, deserving of both of those MVPs, probably deserving of a third.
Tyler,
I feel like everybody's really crushing Lamar right now. I was listening to Nick Wright the other day, and he was like, we've already seen the best of Lamar. Like, it's not going to get any better than what we've seen of him.
Odds are pretty strongly in favor of that.
And he just had like his 2 best seasons prior to this season with Todd Monken as his OC, and now everybody's like, "Oh no, Lamar hated it. Lamar was sick of it. He was sick of everyone and on the staff, and now it's all over."
I think really good quarterback. Just to be clear, like I think Lamar rocks. That guy's amazing. I would not want him starting in the playoffs for me, but it's really good.
It doesn't sound like you think he rocks. You just came and took him smooth out.
As a regular season quarterback, if you can get 13 to 14 games out of him, he's going to give you borderline MVP numbers.
He is right. I mean, he really only qualifies as a regular season quarterback.
Again, seriously, how did we get here? Like you,
I don't know. You led us here.
I did not lead you here. I just simply talked about him being a psychopath. You took it, and now somehow we're getting like one of the oldest sports radio conversations in the world about Lamar, and now we're sprouting out his numbers for the regular season. How did we get here? Lamar is simply walking down the street, and BK opened up the car door and just drilled him and said, "Oh, how's your tummy now, bitch?" And it's like, what is the deal?
Can I give a take, by the way, real quick?
Real quick. I'm starting. I wasn't going to bring this to the table. I've just seen this recently. Now we're getting an understanding, Serda, of why the B and the K is so big on his show name, and his co-host name is so small.
He complains about that weekly.
Isn't he a former athlete?
No, that was the old co-host. His name was bigger than mine. They switched him.
God. Steve, when you do yourself a favor,
I think I've seen it. It's like a Travion Henderson thing. Like Travion Henderson, they were using a different font for his name for some reason because it had so many letters.
They can find a bigger font. That BK is this big, and then it's down there. I know he's pissed. I will come on the air and protest. Listen, we're not getting this show started another damn second until somebody goes in there and fixes that graphic. Hey,
it really is just the masthead of the show.
It looks like by the week, BK's name is slowly crushing his down to where it will only just say BK by the end of it. All right, you have a take.
Yeah, I do. First of all, I'm dying. Our show logo is it basically features BK and Ferrario's also here. That's what they're trying to say.
Hey, his last name ain't Witherspoon, where he's got 12 letters, man. He's got a solid 6 or 7 that have to be that damn big, man. What the hell's going on over here, man?
We brought up Lamar Jackson, and he obviously missed the playoffs this year. He couldn't get there this time around. as I was watching over the weekend, Ron, we could just do this real quick. I don't know if you guys had any takeaways from Wild Card Weekend as it pertains to the Chiefs, like a localized version of this. I watched those games, and first of all, it was great football for the most part, outside of the Texans, who, my God, that was horrible.
That was good to the fourth.
Yeah, that's fair.
Competitive to the fourth. Check that.
I don't think any of these teams are very good. All of these teams are remarkably flawed. Like, Ron, your Texans, they might go to the Super Bowl out of the AFC this year, and it's purely because they have an unbelievable defense, but that offense isn't very good.
Why do you keep doing that, man? You
What?
really keep calling them your Texans. You really love it.
I mean, you're around the team every day.
Who else are you rooting for in the playoffs now?
Exactly.
Now you make business decisions. Like, Chiefs are out.
He's not wrong.
No,
better for you personally and professionally.
No, you call them my Texans when they're playing the Chiefs. Anytime you refer to the Texans, you say my.
Because they're yours. They are your. You are in Houston. They are yours. You have ownership over them.
I do not.
How many Texans games have you been to this year?
All of them, but that doesn't mean.
They're your Texans. You gotta own them.
It's under work. It's under work for instance.
Did you guys think that any of these teams were very good? Because I feel like the bar to clear for the Chiefs, I think that there have been so many Chiefs fans that have been panicking over the last few weeks. Understandably so, man. When you win, 6 games with Patrick Mahomes as your starting quarterback for most of the season, it's a failure of epic proportions, and I understand the panic. But as you're watching these games, I think to myself, the Chiefs could be right back here next year, and I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. And I don't think it takes all that much to get back here.
It's kind of why, like, I still, even after all of that, like, and it was usually Wild Card Weekend, like, there's like 1 or 2 good games and the rest of them suck because the good teams are the good teams and they're a lot better than the teams that sneak into the playoffs. But yeah, it just further highlights what a weird season it was, where I think there was like 3 really good teams in the NFC, and I think everybody in the AFC was kind of in the same boat. And like, it's still why I think the Bills, and I mean, their defensive injuries are a little worrisome now, but it's still kind of why, like, I can totally talk myself into the Bills being in the Super Bowl because Josh Allen is simply the best player who's still alive in the postseason. And if they can get over the hump, like, that playoff experience, I think is going to be huge for that team. But I don't think that, like, I still find myself believing that, like, whatever team makes it from the AFC is just going to lose to whatever team makes it from the NFC, because I think those teams are better.
Yeah, I just don't think there've been any great teams during the whole year. Like, even immediately, I don't know if I knew the 3 good teams you were talking about in the NFC. I mean, I think Seattle and the Rams, I would assume you're talking about 2 of them.
I think the 49ers are good. Losing Kittle sucks. All of the injuries that they've had this season sucks, but, like, the coaching job that they have done, and, like, if that team was healthy, that team the coaching job is good, but I still think they're good. Like, I think game plan wise, like, I think the 49ers could go up against any team in the AFC in a one-off and beat them.
Yeah, but could the 49ers beat any of the final 4 teams of the last 2 seasons? Like that 49ers team? Like,
maybe the Commanders last year. The Commanders last year were a little bit of a luck box as well.
I don't know. Yeah, okay, maybe. Yeah, the top 4 teams, like the Lions, that was a really good football team. The Eagles, I know you're looking at that. I don't know how the Bears are doing what they're doing. So I don't know. It just seems to have shown like this is where this is, and it's not a long leap. I just think some Chiefs fans are nuts. And speaking of nuts, now you may think that I am nuts with this because and there may be some. We've had to do this over the years, time after time on show, and BK with and Serda. We've had to do that over the years, but like it feels like people are, and to be honest, to to the route that they are nervous or concerned is really interesting to me. They're nervous and concerned about if Brett Veach is going to be able to do what he needs to do in the offseason to get this roster better. They're really concerned about Andy Reid, if he's going to have to be able to change the scheme. That scheme shit is really getting to me because I just don't think that 75% of the people who are screaming and talking about the scheme stuff know what the hell they're talking about. I don't think any of us do. When, especially from the scheme perspective of knowing, like, hey, why are they having to do this? Who's hurt? Who's not hurt? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What are they trying to avoid? What are they trying to protect? We don't know any of this stuff the way they know. So half you all don't know the scheme stuff of what you're talking about. But there are a lot of people who are really concerned if they can improve that. I look at Reid, Veach, and Mahomes, the big three, and I think all three of them have to take some steps forward from what they did this year going into next year. And I got to be honest, Patrick Mahomes may be the one that I'm most concerned about out of that three. Like I've got pretty good confidence that Brett Veach is going to be able to fix this roster. He has shown it and done it for years, and he's got a lot of resources. I think a fair amount of resources to be able to do it. He's got a top 10 pick. He's got a really good young player that he could potentially trade to add more picks to. He's got some things with the cap. He can finagle some guys that are going to come off. So I think he's got options to do it. Andy Reid, I think Andy Reid is arguably the best coach in the last 30 years. And I believe he can fix things. And still, as I've said, as bad as things were to some people or things that should be improved, when they had their quarterback, they were a top 7 offense in total offense all season. That's where they were. But Mahomes, man, it's not even as much the knee injury. It is like he's been taking steps towards this. You put it out the other week, BK, that his numbers have been kind of floating towards this. Like, if we're honest, like numbers wise and what we've been able to see him to do. Now, obviously, it's not all on him, but we're not in the same stratosphere to where we were when he was either winning MVPs or finishing in the top 3, or like he's nowhere near like what Matt Stafford's doing. He's not come close to been like putting up numbers like that. Like what Drake Mays, like 72%, 30 plus touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 4,200 yards. Like he hasn't been doing that. And it has been like over a 3-year period that it has been coming down. Now, the difference from this year to the previous years is in the fourth quarter, he turns into Patrick Mahomes and bam, he saves it. Well, this year in the fourth quarter, he turned into a lesser version of Patrick Mahomes, and sometimes he turned into Tua, Daniel Jones or something with some of the decisions that he would make. So I believe my confidence level is or concern level is not as high as some others are with Andy Reid and Brett Veach. But like, if I'm just being honest, this is multiple years that he has been sitting at this. And it does, like, I think it is fair to think, is this what Patrick Mahomes is? Maybe not all the interceptions, but just the, like one of the best quarterbacks instead of the best quarterback. Because you start putting his numbers up against some of the other elite. I know you guys just ran Lamar off the road. We understand where Josh Allen is, right? He's not been matching that for a few years now. And now the end of the game clutch thing went by the wayside. So I believe that he can get back to leading this team and them being who they've been. But of the three, like Mahomes getting back to the Mahomes that we want to see. When you compare Andy getting back to the Andy and Veach get back to the Veach, I think Mahomes is the one that I'm most concerned about. God Boy, he is muted big time. And you think he knows it yet?
Yeah, like been
I mean,
like
he
a
started
solid,
that off good
a
too,
solid
man.
15 seconds.
I mean, he was going, man. I don't know what he was saying, but that
Ready?
sounded good.
3, 2, 1. To be fair, Josh Allen has also seen his numbers decline precipitously over the last 3 years as well. You look at what's taken place in the NFL. Ron, this is a huge story that's probably almost gone a little under the radar. Passing numbers league wide are so drastically different than what they were 3 to 5 years ago. It's everybody. And so you look at Mahomes over the past 3 seasons, his average year, about 3,900 yards, 25 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Over that same stretch of time for Josh Allen, 3,900 yards, 27 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. As passers, they've been nearly the exact same player over the last 3 seasons. Now, we know Josh also adds a ton of value with his legs. 500 plus yards, 12 to 15 touchdowns per year with his legs. So I'm not diminishing in any way what kind of a player Josh is. I'm just saying, like, purely from a passing perspective, this is a trend that is taking place league-wide, and Mahomes is just symbolic of it. And I'll be very curious to see what the plan is to get him closer to what he was. I don't think we're ever going to see 5,050 again. I think that might have been the high watermark for Mahomes' career. But is there a plan in place? Is there something they can do either schematically or with personnel or by altering his own play? Because some of this is on him. It's not purely based upon the players around him. What is the plan to get him closer to what he was compared to what he is recently, and to buck the trend league-wide of the passing numbers falling so much?
And listen, I know I got specific on numbers, and I do, that is a part of it. And when you bring Josh into it, fair. But I would say, like, even though Josh's numbers aren't the same, Josh has been playing like an MVP, right? Mahomes didn't win the MVP every year, but Mahomes was playing like an MVP every year up until the last 3 years. Like he's not, it's not even just the numbers dropping. It's like he's not playing to the level of the MVP, right? Like, you don't have to have 5,000 yards, whatever. You don't, like, you just just being honest, he has not even been in the conversation for real the last 3 years. Right? Like, once we get to the meat of the season, and besides this year, his team has been in it. Guys, they went 15-1 in games, and for real games. Ended up going 15-2. They went 15-1. They started off the year 9-0. He was never really seriously taken as an MVP candidate that year. And his team, like, usually the team, like, he was never even taken serious as that. Right? I think didn't Joe, Lamar, and Josh all finish ahead of him? Like,
and Goff, yeah.
Oh, forget about Jerry. I forgot about Ryan Gosling. But they all finished ahead of him. Like that's all I'm saying is, it's really not the knee, because I think he's going to come back from the knee. Now, obviously, that throws a piece in it, but it is just like, hey man, this ain't like, oh boy, had an off year. No man, this is 1, 2, this is 3 straight years. Like, can he get anywhere like close to that? Can he get to 2022 Mahomes? Right? That's not the first one. Can he get to there? Like,
I think this goes back to a lot of the things that we've already said about the offense, though, and like it getting stale, and Andy at times, like it's simply just feeling like Andy was just like, all right, well, we're going to go out here, we're going to do this, and we're going to run this and do whatever. And then if it doesn't work, Patrick will bail us out, because that's what Patrick does. And it kind of feels like it's been like that for years now. And it sucks that he tore his ACL. Also, like, the amount that he was running this season to literally carry the offense at times isn't acceptable for a player that is the caliber of Patrick Mahomes. Like, it's simply not sustainable. Like, he's not Josh Allen. Like, he can't take that kind of punishment. And this year, it was just way too often was he just trying to carry everything. And I think he's been doing that a lot over the last couple of years. And this year, it finally started to break down and catch up to him. And unfortunately, it culminated in a season-ending injury. And that blows, and he's still young enough that I think he can totally come back and fully recover and still be very similar to the player that he was prior to the injury. But like, for the first time in a long time, I think Andy Reid is really having to like take a look at himself in the mirror this offseason and be like, okay, we got to do some things differently next season. Right, we got to get him more help. We got to change things on the offensive side of the ball. And hopefully that means that, like, what has always made Mahomes such a special player is his ability to extend plays. And he used to always, like, he would run at the most like pivotal moments in the game, and it was always the most opportune time. But then last season, he just started doing it all the time because they didn't have a better option. And that simply can't be the case moving forward. That can't be the case next season. And the Chiefs just have to figure out how to do things better, and they have to make Mahomes' life easier. Like, that's got to be what this whole offseason has got to be about, addressing the roster needs and the talent deficiencies that this team has and making Patrick's life easier, because it simply hasn't been easy enough the last few years.
Yeah. First off, you're so disrespectful to Andy that Andy just says, let's just run this.
He has done that.
He's not.
He has blatantly done that.
He is not. He has not just said, hey, do this. And then, hey, Pat, just run around and do it. No, Andy Reid is not just throwing shit up against the wall. It's just, I know you wanted to believe that. There are so many fighting Serdas that believe that with you. It is not true. It's so disrespectful. And what gets me is, this has been 3 years, right, that we've seen it come down, and life's not easier on him. And as you have convinced yourself when he starts running around there like that, like it's the best option. Maybe it isn't always the best option, and maybe it is not always forced upon him to have to go do that. Maybe he takes a reason to why life's not easier for him. Maybe there is some, and I think there is something from all parts. I don't know what it is. I'm with you. They can make life easier, and I do think there will be some tweaks. Hell, they've damn near gotten rid of every single person on the coaching staff that coached offense last year until now. They booted the receivers coach. The running back coach is out of here. Everybody but Dave Tobe. They've gotten rid of just about everybody out here. So
Dave's not going anywhere.
We talked about that last week. I don't think Dave's going anywhere.
Well, it was reported by somebody today that seems to have some kind of insight on this on Twitter, that apparently Dave's coming back. So,
I saw that. Yeah, Dave's coming back. But
Dave's not going anywhere.
But listen, I think the Mahomes thing, we've got. I'm not saying that first year he played, like, that was, that roster and everything was great. But they, like, 2022, the roster was not great. 2022, the offensive roster, you could even, I think you could even say it was better in certain parts if it was healthy this past year. And they can put together rosters to that level or better for 2022, when it was like, damn, there's no Tyreek Hill. Like, he's out here making Juju get almost 1,000 yards. They're out here doing this, like, damn, they ain't got no great back. Like, it is. That dude has not surfaced over the last couple of seasons.
I think you're sometimes a little too hard on him for what we saw last year.
That's fair. Maybe that's fair.
In 2024, I should clarify, because 2025, I think everything was just broken, and I can't really explain it in an easy way. None of it made sense to me as we were watching it. It still doesn't make sense to me today. Part of it is, Rashid, the suspension, and then the injuries. Xavier Worthy maybe was just like never healthy the entire season. First it was the shoulder in the first game of the season, then eventually the ankle. Hollywood was just never the guy they thought he was going to be, and Kelsey, is getting up there in age, despite the fact that I still think he had overall a pretty productive season compared to what I was anticipating out of him. But the offense was just broken. So I think that it was a reasonable plan this year to come back. Like, if we're saying, because Ron had brought up Andy, Veach, Mahomes, who are you the most concerned about among those three? Like, if you had to rank it, one of the things that I do think is fair, I thought Veach's plan coming into the season was reasonable. And I remember talking about it at the time going into the year. Like, I don't blame him for saying, hey, we'll fix the offensive line. We'll get these receivers back healthy. Offense is going to be good again. The plan didn't work. And so he deserves, criticism comes with that. But I thought Veach's plan was fine. I thought Andy, if you're in his shoes, I probably would have viewed it as the same way, where I'm like, yeah, the stuff that we had last year that didn't work because we were hurt, it's going to work this time around. And then with Mahomes, he's the one that I thought the play dipped the most this year. So if I was to most concerned out of those three, Andy, Veach, and Mahomes, I would say based upon last year's performance, Mahomes would be at number one. But overall, he's the guy that I have the most faith in long-term to get this thing figured out. So it's kind of a tricky spot.
Yeah, it definitely is. And let's please, by the way, hey, shout out to you all listen to us on YouTube, checking us out on YouTube. Those of you on Twitter, whatever, please like and subscribe. If you're rocking with us on YouTube, please like and subscribe for us right now on Foolish Club Media. But let's, speaking of that, getting to the offensive coordinator search, because that's a big deal. And if you all didn't know, if Matt Nagy was gone, Patrick Mahomes was able to let you know that today as he spoke to the media about several things. He was asked about a potential offensive coordinator. And if Matt Nagy had any chance to be here, the thought may have been something like, hey, we'll see what happens. Matt Nagy is the guy there. It went, I want someone that loves football, okay, that cares about football, that wants to do everything they can to win, to hold people accountable, and to bring new ideas every single day. I don't want to say that by him saying that means that Matt Nagy did not do those things. I don't want to say that. I do find it interesting that he was ready for the question and was specifically had the points that he wanted to make. So I don't know if he is saying that is something Matt Nagy didn't do. I don't want to put words into his mouth, but everybody has had their thoughts on the OC search. Hearing Mahomes, did that change anything that you had in your mind about the direction they should go?
No, but I guess it just confirms that they are going in another direction to me, because everybody is and BK mentioned, Andy's talked about it, and I have just been sitting here so far this offseason being like, are we sure that Matt Nagy's not the offensive coordinator? Because they never really said that. It's kind of like an Eric Bieniemy thing almost, where they're just like, oh, he's interviewing for head coaching jobs. Maybe they'll make it easy on us and he'll just get hired by somebody. And then we don't ever have to actually fire him or part ways with him or whatever, which also kind of sucks, because then you're sitting around waiting for the coaching cycle to die down while other guys could wind up landing elsewhere. And then it's like, okay, well then what are they going to do? Find another retread guy, find some other guy that Andy's worked with over the last 35 years and just bring him in, or what are they going to do? Because I would like them to bring in some fresh blood. I would like Andy Reid to actually be a pipeline for young NFL coaches again, as opposed to just working with the same people that he's worked with for 35 straight years. That's what I would like to see from the Chiefs in their coaching staff search. And so it at least says to me that there's been conversations with Patrick Mahomes, and it sure seems like the Chiefs are in fact going to have a new offensive coordinator, which is what we all actually hoped. I just wasn't totally sure that was actually the case.
Yeah, I definitely think they're going to have a new OC next year. after hearing both Andy and Pat talk about this, and then seeing some of the speculation, the reporting that has come out, some of the things that we heard from Pat sure sound like he's describing Eric Bieniemy. I mean, it's hard not to hear those things and think to yourself, well, what you're describing is kind of what Bieniemy brought to the table. And how many times over the last few years have we talked about they just don't look buttoned up? They just don't look like a team that has their P's and Q's out. Like, it just looks off for whatever reason. And say what you will about Bieniemy, and I think some of the criticism that he had when he was here was fair. And I think some of the stuff now that we're saying where it's like, hey, he'd fix everything is maybe a little bit over the top. The guy is a disciplinarian, and he is going to bring that to the table. And look at every stop that he's ever been at. He does improve your running backs. He's a really good running backs coach, if nothing else. And that's something the Chiefs could sure as hell use right now. Chiefs running backs were really good when he was here, even when they didn't have the talent in the room. And it's been bad basically ever since he left. So that was the thing that immediately came to me, Ron, was as I heard him talk, as I think about what they need, as I'm going through kind of the types of hires that you would typically expect from Andy Reid, which is somebody that had some kind of a history with him previously, I keep going back to, I think Eric Bieniemy is very much at or near the top of the list of guys that they could hire this offseason.
And look, and Matt Kafka, you can throw in there. I think Alex Smith this week was on with Kay Adams, and he brought up the name Mike Kafka. And I think even to your point, Alex even drove further saying, hey, and he'd be surprised if he could go outside of the kind of the family dynamic, outside of what he has been. And I feel like I'm in the minority on this. That doesn't scare me. That doesn't upset me. That doesn't put me in a place of, what are they going to do? Because, again, I think people have lost their everlasting minds and have forgotten who the hell their head coach is. Like, I start at the baseline of, I don't believe that Andy Reid is not going to make adjustments and can't figure out how to get the offense back to where you want it to be. Like, I don't think that. I think Andy Reid has made adjustments over the years multiple times. And it is why Andy Reid has been so good for so long and has been the standard. Right? Like, nobody, I said this last week, when Kyle Shanahan went through a couple of his 6-win seasons, nobody said, oh, boy, they better go run to that Reid tree and see if he could pull somebody outside of the Shanahan McVay tree. Like, nobody hit that number. Nobody said, boy, better go run down and see who Joe Brady's assistant is when Sean McVay and them won 5 games that 1 year. No, Andy is fine and we'll be able to figure it out because he is an absolute genius when it comes to offensive football, right? And to me, the feel is what Patrick said, someone who has new ideas. There's a thought that, like, to me, the thought of, all right, he's been sitting with Ben Johnson, the boy wonder, the type of guy that people love. He's been sitting under Ben Johnson for the full year. We saw what he's done with their running back room to the point you made. He's been sitting with Ben Johnson. He's been away from Andy for multiple years now in different systems. Like, we don't think he picked up a little something from Ben Johnson? Like, do we think Eric's dumb? Same thing with Kafka. Kafka has been under an entirely different system, right? Like, Brian Daboll's a pretty good offensive coach. He's had some success. They were there with Daniel. He was there as the OC when Daniel Jones conned them into getting them money and used Saquon Barkley in that run game. Hell, he was there as that offense was starting to come together with Jackson Dart, right? Like, before they just had a stroll of injuries. We started to see some. You don't think he's picked some of that up and can come back and knows the expectations in the system here? So the feel and the need for, boy, we got to have, give me Nathan Schillhouse. We got to have some new blood. We got to have one of those Kubiaks. Give me like, we've got to have Cliff. Like, if he chooses to go there, I trust Andy and I'm good with it. But the thought that Eric Bieniemy and Kafka, who have been in other systems under other offensive minds, haven't picked up something new that they could bring to the table. And like you said, we've heard the stories of Eric Bieniemy drawing up shit on the chalkboard all the time, and them, being able to use some of the stuff and the creative stuff. But he's used, like, I'm not saying it has to be EB, but the thought that Eric Bieniemy now means, or Kafka now means, that they're just going to do everything they did last year, I think that's insane.
So I agree with a lot of what you said there, Ron. I would say the biggest thing to me is, in these kind of situations, I just want to be realistic about what's actually going to happen, because I understand the draw. If you're somebody that wants Nathan Schillhouse, I'm not even going to push back against it. I get it. I would love to see Patrick Mahomes in a Sean McVay style offense. It's what's working around the league right now. I mentioned it earlier. You're seeing everywhere. Offense is down. In particular, passing offense is down compared to what it was 3 to 5 years ago. The one offense that really seems to be working league-wide still with what defenses are presenting right now is that Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan type of offense. And basically every team around the league that has gone to one of those types of systems has seen some level of success in doing so. So I get the draw. I get the appeal. It's just not happening while Andy Reid is your head coach. Like, this is always going to be Andy's show. It's always going to be Andy's offense while he's in Kansas City. So if we acknowledge that and we understand that, we then have to also acknowledge that the offense is not suddenly going to mirror what you see in LA or what you see in San Francisco or what you saw this year in Miami, which means hiring one of those guys would be more or less for show. And really what you're hiring these guys for are situations. Hey, red zone, what do you add to the playbook in the red zone? 3rd and 4th and short, what can you bring to the table? 3rd and long, what can you bring for those specific play designs that we can potentially implement into the game plan? Hey, against a team that bases out of cover 2, what do you think is the best way to go about this? Same thing for cover 3, etc. Like, those are the kinds of things that the offense coordinator can help with, more so than just completely implementing a new system. And I think that's what a lot of Chiefs fans want. And the truth is, it just was never going to happen while Andy Reid is still your head coach. So either you want Andy Reid fired and to incorporate one of these new systems, which I don't think anybody actually wants, or let's be realistic, the odds are you're getting one of Mike Kafka, Eric Bieniemy, Joe Blameyer, who's already on the staff right now. He's their passing game coordinator, and Andy specifically mentioned him by name when asked if there was anybody on the staff that was qualified for the job. And then Cliff Kingsbury, who at least has somebody in the building who's the most prominent and important voice inside of the building with Patrick Mahomes, who will go to bat for him. Those are probably your 4 options to be the next Chiefs OC.
Yeah, because when you think about a lot of I do believe that changes and shifts will be made in this offense. From scheme to whatever, I think they will do some things different. Where do you think the bulk of that is coming from? I think Andy. I think the bulk of that is coming.
I assumed that was rhetorical. Yes, the answer is Andy.
Right? And then the other question I would say to you, Serda, is, are you uncomfortable or not confident that Andy Reid is somebody that can make changes to make this?
So earlier, I was obviously being hyperbolic a little bit.
I don't know if you were, because you doubled down on it. Like, you came back around and doubled down on it.
Well, but we know that Andy can change things, right? Like, we know that Andy is fully capable of doing that.
Yeah,
and
if he can't, we're screwed.
Can you change what's in your throat? What's going on?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's cold here where I'm at right now. It's very cold. It's snowing outside. But we've seen Andy make adjustments. We've seen Andy change and adapt before. I think the biggest difference is that when you have a player like Mahomes who is fully capable of doing anything, like, there is some complacency that winds up setting in because you're just like, you can rely on him to make the play when the offense in the scheme fails. Like, he can still fully go make a play. And Andy hasn't really had that in a long time. Like, Alex Smith certainly wasn't that. Like, Donovan McNabb was like the last guy he probably had who could go do that. And even Donovan McNabb had limitations that Patrick Mahomes certainly doesn't have as a player. And so I think that changes things a lot. But I do think that, like, we've seen Andy Reid adapt his entire offensive system based off of the personnel that he has in the past. And it has worked. And we've seen him change things. And we've seen him adjust. And he's fully capable of doing that, I think. I do think, like, I've talked about, like, the RPO stuff, that wasn't always like a dramatic part of the Andy Reid offense. That's something that they have done in recent years. Like, more and more teams are moving away from that. And like BK has talked about, like, the run scheme stuff and all of that stuff because of the shells that they're seeing in the passing game now and what's happening in the offense. That's like the offensive trend of the league has trended towards that, to try to open things up in the passing game. Their teams are running the ball more. Now we're seeing much more like effective and complex rush schemes than we've seen in a long time. Like, Andy's just got to go look at some of the best young offensive minds in the league and be like, hey, let me adapt some of this stuff. Let me tweak some things. Let me implement some stuff, and let me get caught up on the things that I've been lagging on in the past few years. And he will be totally fine because he's still one of the most innovative offensive minded coaches that we've ever seen. You're muted, Ron. We're live.
Damn it! I didn't know I thought I did that. I didn't think I BK'd this thing. That's on me. No, but I think many people believe that he needs to go and get Nathan Shieldhouse to be able to do everything that you just said. I think many people believe
that would be fun. But that dude's going to get a head coaching job probably.
Sure, but I just use him as an example. He was at Weak Ass Rockers, but I'm sorry. Never forget Tony Temple just shaking me in that hole. Anyway, but no, he like many people believe Cliff Kingsbury is what they have to add to the staff for him to be able to do that. Like, BK has talked about this plenty of times on this program, that, hey, when Mahomes came here, they didn't just say you're going to do everything that I've ever done with Alex Smith, as you just talked about. Like, they went and pulled some of the things that he did at Texas Tech and just brought that and made that a part of the offense. So, like,
and beyond that, Ron, like, when they got to Kansas City, Andy changed his offense to incorporate more of the pistol stuff. Like, he has done this multiple times, and every time that they reach an inflection point, he changes. They did it when he got to Kansas City with Alex Smith. They implemented the pistol that first year. They brought in the old Nevada coach in order to do that. And then they bring in Brad Childress. He incorporates a few different things. And then they draft Patrick Mahomes. In that first year with Alex as the starter, they implement a lot of the stuff that eventually they wanted to do with Pat. So then the next year, Pat gets to do a lot of that stuff. And then we know what happened in 2021. The offense kind of starts to change a little bit. 2022, they go to more of the underneath stuff to adjust to whatever the defenses are giving them. Last few years, they start to change again. Now, these changes haven't been nearly as successful, and now it's time again to adapt. I think too many people, too many fans I've seen on social media, and I know social media is not real, but too many people have just decided at this point, yeah, Andy will never adjust. He's he's too stubborn. He's too into what he does. No, that's nonsense. Andy has been adjusting since the moment that he was hired as the Kansas City Chiefs head coach. Let's at least give him an opportunity to do so after they failed for the first time in his tenure.
Yeah. Please like and subscribe. If you do not do so, you're being selfish. If you're on right now, please like and subscribe right there. Hit that little thumbs up button, subscribe. That would be fantastic for us. Our guy, speaking of somebody who has liked and subscribed, our guy Winston, who rides with us, my man said that's why at number 9 you need to go and get Jeremiah Love. And I'm gonna be honest with you, fellas, and Winston, I will be disappointed, borderline hot. I will be disappointed if that's the direction they go at 9. I will be like that pick has to be, and I believe it. I believe if you give Andy Reid and Brett Veach and all of them, their staff, their scouting staff, you give them that pick with all of the options that potentially are there that can help their needs, I think they are going to be able to get a player that is a real impact player right away and for the future. And do I think Jeremiah Love is capable of doing that? Yes. But I think obviously they have I think they have other needs that are pressing and harder to find at an elite level. And as I've said, this offense isn't going to be somebody that needs to have an elite level running back. If you find it and draft it and that person turns into it, that's one thing. But they don't have to create resources for it. I think they got to create elite level resources to get a pass rusher or two, right? Like if they had 9, which I think there potentially could be a pass rusher, Bailey from Texas Tech really jumps out to me. I think they need to use an elite resource on that. I think they need to use another elite resource in free agency. That's how much I think they're going to need to add to their pass rush. So I think there could be a receiver up there that with the Rashee Rice situation, that could be even more pressing. There could be a corner up there that you potentially that may become pressing if you indeed decide to trade the one that you have. Right, D-line, there are just so many things that could go at running back, and I just feel like they have other options and avenues to get running back. This, like we talk about how BK and Serda, this is a good year to try to find an offensive coordinator if you need one. It feels like this is one of the better years if you need a free agent running back to find one.
That's what I was going to bring up, Ron, because it to me is about, okay, how do I acquire the talent that I need? I don't care how you do it. I just care that you get it. And if this was a terrible free agent class for running backs, I could kind of understand the appeal of them going out and acquiring Jeremiah Love via the draft. That would make some sense to me, especially if it was a super deep edge rusher class, which almost never happens, but let's just walk down this hypothetical path. Great edge rush free agent class, great wide receiver free agent class, nobody there at the running back position. Cool. Yeah. Go sign a wide receiver. Go get yourself a defensive end in free agency or trade for one, whatever you got to do. And then take the running back at number 9 overall. I'm not completely against that. But I'm going to list some of the running backs that are available. I think all of these guys would be perfectly acceptable as a Chiefs running back next year.
Let me see if I'm into it.
Breece Hall.
Okay, that will cost a little bit more, right? Yeah, but be a new
Kenneth
concept.
Walker.
I'm in.
Javonte Williams.
Not as much, but yeah.
Travis Etienne.
Oh, I crave it.
Rico Dowdle.
Love it. Crave it. Those two.
Tyler Algier.
Oh, those final 3.
I'd rather have Breece than Travis.
But see, for me, those other guys are I think will be cheaper. And I still don't think this doesn't mean that you don't draft a running back.
Sure.
I don't think Breece is going to be as expensive as people think.
Oh, fine. That's fine. If you want to,
he hasn't had these kinds of seasons that people think he has.
Whatever the case, I just named 6 guys that we're all at least okay with as the starting running back for the Chiefs next year. You can get one of them. And then beyond that, Ron, you could bring in Kenneth Gainwell as a third down back. And now you've got a little bit of a pass catcher in the room. You've got your number one guy that you're going to lean on. They probably bring back Kareem Hunt next year for short yardage situations. And then maybe you're right, Ron. Maybe they draft a guy in the 4th round as well, that as the year progresses, they can start to give him some more touches too. So there are a lot of ways that you can add to that running back room via free agency and then spend a low-level draft pick to be able to kind of finish out the room. That same thing is not there at wide receiver, where it's like Jawan Jennings, Alec Pierce, Romeo Dobbs, and a whole lot of nothing. Or defensive end, where it's, do you want to pay $30 million a year for 32-year-old Trey Hendrickson? If not, well, then I've got Odafe Owe, a 35-year-old Khalil Mack, Kwity Paye, who's probably not hitting the market, and I don't know, Draymond Jones.
And
that's it.
Who's the guy from Philly? Is he that got traded from the Phillips? Is he
Jalen Phillips?
I thought he was.
Multiple Achilles tears. Like, he's a good player, and but like his injury history would really scare me. But paying him real money.
But I'm getting you with the Trey Hendrickson. That's a lot of money. But I still think you add a player, one of those type of veterans, and I think you need to get a premium pick on that. If Bailey or the kid from Miami are there at 9 and they pick Jeremiah Love, I'm gonna be tied to Fitz. And I don't even know what that is.
I think Jeremiah Love would be fun as hell. But do I think that is the best way of planning for your future? Absolutely not. As somebody who loves offense, and I've always been the wide receiver guy, like for years now, I've been saying just doesn't have to be a first round asset. Just let's go grab somebody in the 2nd or 3rd round. Let's go get like a coveted running back who's actually got a chance of being like an explosive playmaker instead of just settling on these 7th round guys and hoping they turn into something. Like, and it's over the years too. It's like frustrating because you've just seen all these guys who have panned out, and the Chiefs easily could have taken them at value. And now we're sitting here just like, oh, it's been years and years of them just refusing to invest in the running back position. And all of a sudden they finally have a top 10 pick, and everybody's like, well, you should take a running back now. No, that I disagree. Jeremiah Love would be fun as hell. But if the best pass rusher on their board is available at 9 and they take Jeremiah Love over that pass rusher, I'm going to be furious, because the biggest thing that they've neglected, even more so than the running back position, is trying to find a plan after Chris Jones. And they have to do it. They have to figure out what the answer is after him, because they do not have that person on the roster right now.
I would go even beyond that, Serda, because I do agree with you. My ideal scenario is they go get an edge rusher at number 9 overall. If for whatever reason they don't have one there that they love, Caleb Downs is a fantastic safety. And we, I think, over the last year have seen how important safety is in this defense. And I don't think they had the dudes this year to be able to run some of the stuff that they wanted to. If Caleb Downs is there and you fall in love and you say he's going to be the next Eric Berry for our defense, and we think this guy is special, take him. That's fine. I'd rather have that than Jeremiah Love.
I'd rather have Tate if he's there.
Mekhi Lemon, the wide receiver out of USC. He's a little guy, but he plays big. And if you decide that is somebody that we think can take our offense to the next level, I would rather any of those directions as opposed to Jeremiah Love, who, again, I'm with Serda. I think it'd be fun as hell. I just don't think it's the right use of your resources this offseason, given what is available for you in free agency.
There's so much that you could do with the running backs. But you tell me right now, I'm going to bring in Breece Hall or Travis Etienne, and then you draft Katron Allen or something in the 4th or 5th round, or Haynes from Michigan. Like any of that. To me, I don't know about Kenneth Gainwell. I guess you're just done with Rashard Smith. But I mean, it like I just think those are those
I'm good on Kenneth Gainwell too.
like you add those two. I mean, I see the thought process, but I mean, I just thought maybe Brashad Smith was something that they might.
Yeah, Kenneth had a nice year. He had a surprise year with Arthur Smith and Aaron Rodgers.
But I mean, you like that to me is
500 receiving yards.
Get a veteran and then get a younger player that can come behind it. Like what Jacksonville is doing right now with ETN and the kid they drafted from Virginia Tech. Like we're seeing that combination.
Toten.
Perfect for them. So yeah, they like that running back. That is, I will say this, come hell or high water, I can damn near guarantee that position. Like people, there's not going to be complaints out of that position. And if there are, then it's something happened to the player. They just have too many resources and too many known commodities that will fit enough to what this offense needs. I'm out of there on that. We are out.